Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Dr. Mychal Beebe, and I am with Arete Chiropractic in Portsmouth, New Hampshire. I'm here today with Dr. Amy Pruszenski. Hello, Amy.
Hello.
So she is the owner and director and extraordinaire of Visual Victory Training here in the Portsmouth area as well. And what we're going to do today is have a really informal, brief conversation about exactly what it is that we do at our businesses, and then how we are keeping people safe as we begin to reopen in New Hampshire, and then what we're going to see as a vision for our businesses in the Seacoast as we start to recover from this pandemic as a community. So Dr. Amy, why don't you share a little bit about yourself and what common patients you see at Visual Victory and what an average office visit looks like.
Okay, and I know it's a short interview, so I will try to give you the nutshell version of things. I actually had a lazy eye as a child and went through patching and vision training and all of this, and my eyes are straight now, non-surgically. And so that was one of the original inspirations for me to do this kind of work, as a way of paying it forward to others so that others can get their visual systems working more efficiently. And I didn't really mean to be a brain injury expert. I was thinking more on the developmental end for other children like myself, to learn the skills to start with and get things working better. But once the rehabilitation team in the area found out that I could do vision training, they asked if I would just see one brain injury patient. And it just dawned on me during that visit that any one of us can fall and slip on the ice and hit our head, or have a car accident, or God forbid have a stroke or something else happen and be incapacitated in a blink of an eye. And I was then inspired to figure out, okay, somebody's got to figure out how to help these patients get better, and I needed more education. And so I have expanded my developmental knowledge into more of a neurooptometry approach, as far as how is the brain and eye connection working? How can we help it work better? Can we train the patient to get it working better? Do we need lenses or prisms or tints? And that led me to Dr. Deborah Zielinski, who's out in the Illinois area. She's probably the world's leading expert on neurooptometry at this point. She's been going to neuroscience conferences for decades. And so I've been a student of hers for 4.5 years now or so, and work very closely with her team. And I'm very excited about the work that's coming out of the Mind-Eye Institute. So it's an exciting path, and it's different than a regular eye exam. So many people only think of the 20/20 piece of vision. Can you see the eye chart, and is your eyeball healthy? Including many eye doctors. I was trained that way originally, and now I have a better appreciation for how rich our visual system is and how it's connected to every other system in our body, including our hearing. If you go to a movie and the soundtrack doesn't quite match the vision, it makes you a little wiggy and uncomfortable. And so everything from our hand coordination to our eye-ear coordination, our vestibular balance system has to coordinate well with the vision. And so that's more the core of what I do now. So some of my evaluation may look a little bit like a regular eye exam. We do look at the eye chart. We do shine lights at you. I don't do any eye drops. I don't do any eye health services at this office. It's more an eye-brain connection service. And so I do see quite a few children still. We see a number of children who have eye turns, which then led me to see adults with eye turns, because the good news is now there's no age limit. So we've been taught for decades that, oh, by the age of 7, we can't fix this problem if you don't have it fixed. And now we know that, okay, yes, there's a critical period at which we normally learn these skills, but if you don't get it during that time, you can learn it later. It just takes longer and is more challenging. And so I do see those patients, and now I also see a lot of patients who have suffered a brain injury and help them get back on their feet. And that's where I really appreciate the work that you do, Dr. Beebe, as far as you do your piece and I do my piece, and the patients get better faster, and it's very rewarding.
Yeah, not only are you my personal doctor for my eyes, but we refer patients back and forth, and have done so for a couple of years now with a lot of success. When a person has a brain injury, you've got to make sure that the eyes, the inner ear, and the upper neck are all helping the brain to recover. And I'm so grateful that we've been able to connect, because our patients have been able to recover faster with better results because of the integrative work. It's incredible to see how when patients are having problems with reading or skipping words or scrolling on a computer screen, or problems driving or walking down a hallway, that visual stimulus, if they do the exercises that you're recommending, if they work with the different pairs of glasses to help their eyes not overwhelm their brain, they can just recover so much faster. So it's just incredible to see what you can do. And with the
Well,
upper
like I say, we're a good team.
yeah, with the upper cervical work, we have to make sure that as the brain's trying to recover from these head and neck injuries, you've cleared out the drain to the brain, which is that cranial-cervical junction. So at Arete Chiropractic, I was inspired to go into what's called upper cervical chiropractic care because I believe that the upper neck, it deserves a specialist. It's the most complex biomechanic area in the spine, meaning the joint motion and all the nerves there, all the blood vessels there are some of the most complex with respect to the spine. And so it really deserves a specialized approach. And what we do at Arete Chiropractic is do a complete exam of that area. And we have access to a 3D imaging of that area, which allows us to see with more detail exactly how the bones have shifted out of place and how that might be then affecting the neurology, the blood flow, the cerebrospinal fluid flow. And we really gently and precisely correct that. So when we adjust, it's non-manipulative, meaning there's no twisting or popping of the neck. And it's very gentle, and we often see people less than the average chiropractic appointment because the goal really is to get that area to stabilize with as few adjustments as possible for a lifetime, which then allows the brain and body to work better because the brain's got to communicate to the body, body's got to communicate back to the brain. Literally every nerve in that brain-body communication cycle has to pass through that upper neck. And that upper neck, as it relates to the eyes, is crucial because of the cranial nerves, which is a lot of the nerves that control the motion of the eyes and how the sensory input from the eyes integrate into the brain. And so it's wonderful to be able to work with you and to be able to have this team in the Seacoast. In a nutshell, like our office visits look similar to traditional chiropractic. You know, you'd come in and you'd have an initial evaluation. We go over your health history, and then we take imaging if needed, and then we do the adjusting. So the office visit looks similar to a traditional chiropractic, but the application is quite different, kind of like your practice, where you are an optometrist, but because you have that training in neurooptometry and really brain-based, one of my favorite things that you say is, you know, you pluck your eyeballs out, and the eyeball itself is fine, but it's really how the brain is perceiving the vision that the problem is, and just being able to retrain that can help people recover so much better.
Yes, I really will say that the equipment is good, but we're not driving it well.
right. And so that's kind of what both of our practices are able to provide for people in the Seacoast. And with the current pandemic and health crisis that we're having, COVID-19 is on everybody's mind. So how is your business at Visual Victory keeping people safe, and what modifications do you guys offer as we start to slowly reopen New Hampshire?
Well, I'm excited to report I've learned how to use a fogger, and I have completely sprayed the office with disinfectant chemicals, which are meant to be virucidal and help keep us safe. And we do wear masks when we're in contact with each other. And I have the luxury of being without the mask right now in my own separate little space. But we do limit the number of patients in the office now. We do control when people come and go so they aren't crossing paths as often. People are waiting in their cars at the moment, but hopefully over time, as the restrictions are lifted, we won't need to be quite that extreme, hopefully before the bad weather comes in the winter. Right now, it's not so bad to sit out in your car with the lovely weather, so that's not a bad thing. But we do ask everyone to wear masks. We wear masks. We do take everyone's temperature on entering. We take our own temperatures, and obviously, if any of us are sick, we're not allowed to come into work. We ask the patients not to come if they are sick. And so it's almost like a second full-time job right now, keeping up on all the regulations, but we do want to assure everyone that we're doing everything that we can to be as safe as possible. And we do allow our employees to go without their masks in certain areas when they are segregated from other people, because I don't think it's safe to have the mask on constantly all day. So, you know, we're trying to balance health and risk and make sure that we stay as safe as possible.
Yeah, I mean, it's all about mitigating risk at this point, and that sounds right on par with what I've heard from all the other health practitioners in the area. At Arete Chiropractic, we're doing similar practices. So we take temperatures of staff every morning and afternoon. People are able to wait in their car for their appointment, They can come right in, and then they can recover in their car after an appointment if needed. And if they feel comfortable waiting in the recovery or in the reception area, people are wearing masks. We have lots of hand sanitizer around. We're sanitizing all high touch surfaces in between every single patient visit. If somebody is at a higher risk population, or they're taking care of a loved one who's at a higher risk, we have a special populations appointment to further limit any contact in the office that people can make. So again, kind of doing everything we can to mitigate risk, but also making sure that we are able to provide the services that people so desperately need to make sure that their bodies are recovering from current injury or being managed with chronic illness. And Dr. Amy, just share a little bit about what your vision is for the Seacoast and Visual Victory as we start to emerge from this current epidemic.
So I do think that the work we do is very important. I actually had people question whether we were essential or not. And I said, yeah, ask any of the brain injury patients who are essentially crawling on the floor in pain and unable to function. And they've been very grateful when we have been able to get them in as safe a way as possible. And to my knowledge, we've had no exposure. We've all been healthy, and I haven't had any that I know of, any cases who have had the COVID. And they say we all will get it. I mean, it's just a matter of flattening the curve so the healthcare system can take care of us all, so it doesn't happen all at once. So my vision for the future is that we do get back to more of a normal schedule. Right now it's challenging because I've had to prioritize which patients, absolutely have to come in and which ones might be able to wait a little bit. And we're trying to work around that. But eventually I would like to be back up to full speed because there are not many doctors who do what I do, as you know. And I'm working also, one advantage of the COVID restrictions has been I've had a little bit of extra time that I've been able to collaborate with others to work toward getting more doctors doing this kind of work. I'm hoping that in the next 5 or 10 years, what I do ends up becoming more standard of care and more common, and there are more of us. My ego is not involved. It's more an issue of we need people to be helping patients out there who need the care. And there are plenty of patients. So my vision is that we eventually get more and more people doing this work and make it more available to people in the community.
Yeah, that's a beautiful sentiment, because unfortunately there are a lot of people that are struggling with headaches, neck injury, whiplash, mild traumatic brain injury, and they absolutely need to have their vision evaluated to help their brain recover from these really life-altering injuries. And I would love to see more people doing what you do, because waiting months and months to get in can sometimes change or delay care. And with Arete Chiropractic, it's similar. I think as we start to slowly reopen New Hampshire, it's vital for people to recognize that they can be empowered to take control of their own health at this point. I mean, never has it been more apparent that not only do we need to prevent disease, but we need to help the body function optimally. And we need to do that proactively and preventatively by choosing to get good exercise to limit risk of cardiovascular disease and diabetes, choosing to eat healthy, again, limiting weight and obesity, and then choosing to make sure that our microbiome in our gut is strong, so that boosts immune function, choosing to make sure that our spine is in alignment so it's not interfering with the nervous system, so the nervous system can coordinate and control the function of the body, so that not only are we, health is not just the absence of disease, but it's actually promoting optimal function and well-being. And I think that it's never been more apparent that people have the ability now to make those choices, and they should be making these choices, because having pathogens and viruses is something that we've dealt with for millennia, thousands of years as human beings. And as we are growing in our population and living in closer and closer quarters on the earth, this is not a problem that's going to be isolated or one-off. I think this is something that we're going to have to understand the real mechanisms of wellness and the real mechanisms of how pathogens spread, and be empowered to take care of ourselves and our loved ones so that we're less susceptible and more resilient. And I think taking care of your body, whether that's recovering from chronic injury or helping your children have appropriate brain function so they can develop neurologically develop accurately as we as they age, or making sure that their spine is in alignment. These are proactive and preventative things that people can choose to do that will only help them as we start to come out of this current pandemic. And I'm really excited about that opportunity for people. In every crisis, I always kind of look for the silver lining, and that's something that as a healthcare practitioner in the Seacoast, I'm really excited about. So
I frequently look for the blessings in every challenge that comes along. And one of the blessings that I heard about just this morning was there was an ER doctor in New York who used to poo-poo things like meditation and some of these other ways of maintaining our health. And now, on a stressful day, had a panic attack, and one of his coworkers taught him about some meditation and deep breathing and other techniques, and now he's coming around. So I think there are a lot of people who are exploring their health in a different way. And I do encourage everybody to be mindful of self-care and your mental health, and maybe explore some meditation or other options to help you keep your balance and keep your cool despite everything going on around us.
Yeah, that's absolutely correct, and a beautiful sentiment. I really just want to make sure that everybody is aware that Visual Victory training is available for people, that Arete Chiropractic is available for people, and we really stand for people taking control of their own healthcare and feeling excited about the opportunities that they have to learn more about health and themselves as we start to slowly reopen New Hampshire. Dr. Amy, thank you so much for spending your time and energy having this conversation, and I really appreciate you being here.
Well, and thank you, Dr. Beebe. I respect your work, and I'm so honored to be able to work with you in this area.